Hi, welcome. So my name's Russell, I'm the Director of Planned Resources, and I'm lucky enough today to be joined by Cindy Tran. Cindy's recently joined us as our new business manager for local government permanent recruitment, so focusing on permanent recruitment, retained assignments, sort of campaign style work and approach. So welcome, Cindy.
Hi.
If you'd like, I guess for those who haven't met you as yet, if you'd like, I suppose, give us a brief introduction of yourself and tell us a bit about your background.
Sure. Great to have this chat with you today. So I switched my career into recruitment a few years back, and I was lucky enough to start in a British recruitment powerhouse, which was the top 3 global recruitment firm, and I helped them to build up the very first legal and compliance dedicated recruitment desk in Vietnam. And then when COVID hit, I decided to try something new. So I joined this American expert network firm where I had the amazing opportunities to work on very high-level executive search assignments for our clients, and they are different in sizes and in scale, from startups, company in technology to conglomerates in retail, real estate, and on those assignments, I had the opportunity to work on international assignments and international projects where I sort of touch base and recruit candidates from different locations, Europe, Asia, and America.
So you must have worked on some interesting sort of roles. If you were to pick, I don't know, 2 or 3 different sort of roles that you really enjoyed working on, what would they have been?
Certainly, there were a number of very interesting but also challenging projects that I've worked on so far by myself and with the teams also. One significant one I can remember was a head of cardiology. So we worked with this client who is a private international hospital chain, and they couldn't source for local talent. Basically, there was a shortage of this type of cardiologist professional, and we basically came in and we worked with them on sourcing for this candidate shortlist from a number of markets, majority from central part of Asia, from Northern Europe countries, and from the US. So we finally presented a very healthy shortlist, and the candidate and the client was very impressed. Another interesting assignment that we worked on was a CEO for this startup electric vehicle business in Southeast Asia. So I did basically worked on a massive task to map out every single automotive brands. There was about 40-50 brands out there from on different parts of the world. So I mapped out, and finally I placed that position within 2.5 months. Yes.
So that's mapping everyone out across the world, all
Yes.
the companies, and then finding the right talent.
Yes. Yeah.
Crikey.
And a last one would be a board advisor assignment that we worked on for this sort of startup blockchain gaming companies. It was quite like a new field back then. So the client preferred us to approach those who were former executive member from the top 10 game developers company, and majority of them are from Japan and America. So we did that assignment. Again, we presented a very healthy shortlist for the client, and they were happy as well.
Sounds like you've worked obviously on a lot of different roles at a senior level. So I guess, how has your previous experience influenced how you go about recruitment now, and what's your sort of style or approach with candidates and clients now?
Definitely, my experience from that time recruiting for executive positions really influence how I am doing my search today. So a lot of times the clients had kind of given up after trying different searches, different methodologies, different recruitment agency. So for me, the important thing when I take on a search is to make sure I have the right approach to it, whether it's a retained model or whether it's an exclusive contingent model where we have an agreement with a client on the timeline and on our commitment. Second thing that I do really place focus on is the constant communication and constant feedback between the client, the candidate, and myself to make sure that all information is clearly communicated and there's no misunderstanding and there's no gaps in between us. And this significantly influence the result of having a very healthy and qualified candidate shortlist that in line with our client's expectation. And the last thing that I think it's also important in the way I approach is keeping that flow of communication constantly and make sure every side is updated, because the thing with executive search is it can be a long process sometimes, and it requires a lot of understanding, resilience, patience, and collaboration between all the parties to make it happen.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. And I guess you obviously joined us to work in the government sector. What appealed to you about the government sector?
Australia have a very amazing and dynamic public sector, I would say. And with my prior experience, worked on a lot of international projects where I had to consider relocating candidates from one market, one area to another. And Australia is very spread out as well. A lot of local governments are nowhere near each other, and there's a shortage of local talents as well. So I feel like I can bring my prior experience and the ability to work with different people in different locations, and I think I can help to relocate them and to place them where their talents are needed the most. And of course, I do enjoy doing new things as well. Yeah.
Cool. And I guess for those people that haven't met you and are keen to sort of talk to you further, what's the best way of getting in contact with you?
Sure. We do have a very good social media presence, especially our LinkedIn page, where we do post a lot of most updated market observations on jobs and salary for the public sector. So do connect with us there. Also, we have an amazing office in Melbourne Central, and we would love to welcome you and have a coffee chat with you when you have a chance to drop by.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.